Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Service Station Operations Learnership. My name is Graham Ward. Pardon me, and I will be facilitating you through the unit standards that are part of this learnership. So just before we start on the unit standards, I would like to do an introduction to the learnership so that you all understand what is coming at you and what you're going to have to do. And so to do that, I'm going to share my screen with you, and I will take you through the introduction. So let's just do that. Minimize that. Okay, so here's the introduction to the learnership here. National Certificate in Service Station Operations. It's SAQA, South African Qualifications Authority's ID is 62709. And this is the learner introduction guide to let you know how and what's going to happen here. Qualification details, or you'll see this, you'll be getting a hard copy of this book. So, but I'm going to just talk to you through most of the stuff that's going through here. So, the purpose of this qualification is to educate you in the service station operations, core unit standards, fundamental unit standards, and elective unit standards, which are part of the qualification. And it is to equip you with the necessary skills and knowledge to be able to perform excellently on a forecourt. So if you have a look here, we have the qualification rules are made up of fundamental unit standards, which are basically maths and English. You will be RPL through the English because you've probably done English at school, but the maths unit standards you will have to do. There are 4 of them. They are core unit standards, which are the main items inside service station operations, such as we'll get there now, I'll show them to you now. And there are the elective unit standards, which make up 120 credits. So what is a credit? So a credit actually ultimately equals 10 notional hours of learning. And a notional hour means that you are practically doing stuff and in theory as well, understanding what is going on with a particular unit standard. So a unit standard might be 5 credits or 3 credits or 10 credits, depending on its content and the weight of the unit standard. So ultimately, all the unit standards equal 120 credits for this qualification. And this qualification, you will receive a national certificate from W&R CETA called Service Station Operations NQF Level 2. NQF Level 2 basically means a grade 8 level. That's really what it means. So to talk to you about recognition of prior learning, as I mentioned, you've probably done English at school. So we will not have to do the English unit standards, which form part of this qualification. But the chances are that you haven't done maths at pure maths, and therefore we're going to have to do maths as part and parcel of this qualification. The range of learning you can read through yourself there. You can expect to receive the following from award training for each unit standard. You will receive a learner guide, okay, a learner workbook, which are exercises and knowledge questions, which you need to complete, and a portfolio of evidence or a summative assessment or assignment. It's not really a test, it's just more an assignment so that you can complete in your handwriting, and you'll pass these back to Rion, who is the project manager handling this qualification. So be prepared to receive a learner guide, which you can keep, a learner workbook, which you must need to complete and sign in the relevant places and date, and then also the portfolio of evidence or summative assignment, which you need to sign in relevant places as well and complete in your own handwriting. It's quite important to understand that you must use a black pen, and please do not use Tipp-Ex through inside your books. Okay, rather, if you've made a mistake, cross it out, sign it, and then answer the question either on a separate piece of paper which you attach to that portfolio of evidence, or in the space provided for you. To show you what a learner guide looks like, I'm just going to go there for you now. Let's take a particular unit standard here, 114895. I'm going to go there for you now. There's the learner guide there, which you will receive a hard copy of. I'm just opening it up for you now. So there's a learner guide. Define the core concepts of the wholesale and retail environment. Its ID is that. It's an NQF level 2 and it's worth 10 credits. So these learner guides you will receive, and you can keep these forever. You can refer back to them, but there's the relevant information inside there. Okay, we'll go through these as and when we need to. That's what a learner guide looks like. A workbook looks like this. There's the workbook there. Let's go into that. And there's the learner workbook again, the same unit standard here, and you will need to answer these relevant questions inside here. These questions discuss and explain the subsectors, which you will find inside the learner guide. Okay. And finally, you will have a what do you call it? A summative assessment or assignment. And this was what this one looks like. Again, similar types of questions might be there, but it's an assignment and you'll need to follow the instructions on this document, fill in your name here. I will assess here on behalf of it. And again, you will answer these questions here. Both of these books need to come back at the particular time that Rion will tell you, or your rollout plan will tell you. And you'll need to sign in relevant places like here. You'll sign there, date it, the particular date you're doing it. And there are the questions that you'll need to complete. So that's the kind of material that you're going to be expected to receive. Learner guide, learner workbook needs to be completed, and a summative assignment. Okay. Now, please, you need to note that the responsibility of completing these books, you will be made part of a WhatsApp group. You can ask questions there if you've got any doubt or any questions you might have. But the responsibility of completing these books, signing them, and being found competent, which means you need to achieve at least 80% for the summative assignment, and the workbook, and you can seek assistance from Rion on the WhatsApp group. Okay, so there's the idea. So you are responsible for the learning, for completing the books, and you ultimately will get the national certificate for all once you've completed all the unit standards. Okay, we have to register you onto SAQA. And with the relevant CETA, W&R CETA, and that's how they know that you're doing the learnership, and that's how they'll know to certify you once things are completed at the end of probably, it's about 9 months. Have a look at the unit standards contained in this thing. There it is, the National Certificate, Service Station Operations. There's its ID doc number there, okay? It's 120 credits, and those credits are made up as follows. These core unit standards here, okay? These fundamental unit standards, those are the English ones there. They're not the main ones there. But this here, 9009 is a maths unit standard. Okay. 7480 is a maths unit standard. This is also a maths unit standard, 12444, and then 7469 is a maths unit standard, as well as 9007. So those you'll need to complete. They just have a summative assignment, and you need to, for the maths, just achieve a minimum of 70%. For the summative assignment on the core unit standards, these ones here, you need to achieve at least 80% for each of these unit standards to be found competent. And then finally, we've got these elective unit standards. A lot of these are covered in a logbook, okay, which you'll receive towards the end of the qualification. And that logbook you'll need to complete with your supervisor to show that you can handle health and grooming, perform vehicle maintenance. These are practical things: record transactions, dispatch stock, and receive stock. So typically you won't necessarily need to do assignments here, but you will need to have your supervisor sign off that you can perform these practical functions. You'll note that the qualification is made up of actually 122 credits in total, if you add up all these credits here. So there's the NQF level, and there's the credits per unit standard there. All right, so that's what's going on there. So you are the person that has to complete the learner workbook and the summative assignment, okay? And as I said, write it in black pen and don't use Tipex, okay? So that's what's going on there. You can start immediately. Don't delay. I mean, at the end of the day, the sooner you get your work completed, and Rion will probably be coming through to you probably every 3 months to collect books from you, and also to deliver new learner guides, workbooks, and assignments for different unit standards as we go through this qualification. All right. So that's what that. There's this explicitness there. You need to 80% for the formative and also for the summative assignment. So that's what you've got to do. We basically collect and keep all of your workbooks and summative assignments for each unit standard, and ultimately these are then sent to the W&R CETA for final certification and evidence that you have performed all the unit standards. Okay. If you are not found competent, please don't leave questions out in the summative assignment. Do the research in the learner guides, answer the questions. And if you are found not yet competent, the books will come back to you, or the specific questions you didn't get right will come back to you, and you will then be required to complete those questions for a second attempt at the summative assessment, okay, or summative assignment. And as I said, these are kept as a portfolio of evidence in our storeroom. And when we ready for the external moderation with WNR CETA, a sample of these are sent to WNR CETA for as evidence to show that you have actually completed all of the unit standards. As I've mentioned, recognition of prior learning, or RPL, only really happens with regard to the English unit standards. If you're not happy with a particular assessment result, in other words, you feel you've been unfairly assessed, you have the right to appeal. And the appeal, you need to send an email to admin@award.co.za, and then we will take you through the appeals process. And here it is here. You can look, you're able to then look at the appeals process, and we are then going to probably reassess the work that you're appealing. We haven't had an issue with this before, okay, but you have the right to appeal. This is the bottom line of what's going on. I just want to bring up that summative assignment and workbook again for you here. Just give me a second. I want to make it very clear that where you need to sign the documents. So having a look here, there's the workbook there. Okay. There's the questions, okay, they're going to ask you all these questions. So on the workbook, you're probably only going to have to sign at the end that this is your work. Okay, I'm just going to go down there. All right, so there a mark will be awarded to you, whatever it might be, a percentage. And then if you have any questions that have to be re-answered for improvement, they will be listed here by the assessor. Please note you need to sign here and put the correct date in there. Okay, and that's for the workbook. For the summative assignment, which is a more important document ultimately, but still as relevant as the workbook, there are various places you need to sign. Have a look here. Here you will be required to sign, put your name in there, your ID number and your cell number there. You will be required to sign, here we go. You'll be required to sign here. If you have any special needs, just say none if you don't have any. Or if you've got a special need that we need to take into consideration, you'll sign here and date again. And then you will answer the questions as you would the workbook over here. Some of them might be practical questions about your workplace. Answer them truthfully and honestly. There's typically, and some of them might come from the learner guide itself. Okay, there we go. There's a mark will be awarded to you. Areas that you need to readdress. If you're not found competent, you will sign here and date correctly. Please, you're also required to agree or disagree here and to sign on this section here. And then lastly, you'll be required to sign here that you have the right to appeal and this is your original work. Okay, so that's pretty much how the evidence comes to us. And it's important you sign and date correctly where you're supposed to. So going back to the introduction guide here now again, the duration, Rion will give you a rollout plan as to when you can expect to receive books from award training and when he will collect books from you. And we're likely to do 4 unit standards at a time to cover the qualification. And so we'll probably be coming to you right about 3 times during the course of the 9-month program. And then we've got 3 months to do the internal moderation and call for an external moderation for your certification. Rion will give you this rollout plan so that you're aware of when he's likely to come through to your premises and collect books from you or from your supervisor. Please keep these books in a safe place. Without them, you cannot be found competent. All right, so important, unless otherwise agreed to, the learner and award training, the obligations agreed to award training as a discretion shall be deemed to have been fulfilled. Okay, so we're entering into basically a contract here. There's the material again, a learner guide, learner workbook, and a summative assessment or POE. ASSIGNMENT. Let's just put a / there. Okay, so you'll expect those. Don't worry about the rest of that. So you are the person who's going to be submitting your work to Rion, and we will then send marks to you and let you know the outcomes. You don't have to stress if books don't come back to you. You have been found competent, but we will share this evidence with you in your rollout plan as Rion brings books to you and collects from you. You need to understand moderation. What happens with moderation here is there's an internal moderation. We have to hire an internal moderator who's going to look at the evidence and sample the evidence from the learners. So your evidence might be part of that. We have to do 25% of whoever we're training gets sent to an internal moderator. She looks to make sure that the assessments are authentic, current, fairly assessed by the assessor. And we haven't had an issue with this, but ultimately that person signs off the moderation report and then we call for an external moderation with W&R CETA. Okay, and W&R CETA again choose a sample of selected portfolio of evidence, which may be one of yours and maybe another learner's, and they again look at the evidence to make sure again that it's fairly assessed, it's current, it's authentic, it's sufficient, and that once they uphold their moderation, they are then in the process of certifying you as the learner for the National Certificate in Service Station Operations. Now, what I need you to do, please, at the end of the book here, is to put your name here, your ID number, okay, and to agree that I have gone through these with you. Recognition of prior learning, that what the unit standards are that make up the program, formative assessments such as the learner workbooks, summative assessments or assignments, that's the two documents you're going to send back, that you only have 2 attempts for an assessment, otherwise we could go on forever. So you need to focus and get the right answers when required to do so. You have the right to appeal an assessment judgment, okay, that you're trained as per the rollout plan which Rion will give you, okay, and the materials I expect to receive for unit standards, they will be there. I may be removed from learnership if I submit unauthentic work. In other words, you must make sure that your handwriting is the only handwriting on the workbook and the summative assignments, okay, and that ultimately W&R CETA have the right to ask you to redo certain work because they feel uncomfortable. This has never happened to us, but you need to understand that W&R CETA are the final decision makers as to whether you are competent and are eligible for the national certificate. Again, please sign here, date, the correct date, whatever the date is that you're getting it, and then please take a photograph of this and scan this and WhatsApp this back to, sorry, my phone's going here. Just let me just sign here, put your and take a photograph and send this through to Rion via WhatsApp. Okay, so and that's what you can keep this, the rest of this document. It's for your own knowledge. I'm just going to show you now the rollout plan that we have devised, which I'm just going to get there for you. I will show it to you now. Let me just open it up under Smart Choice Training. We're partnering with them on this particular exercise here. And here is the, where is it here? There it is. Just opening it up. So you're going to be taught basic firefighting techniques by Rion, practical exercise when he delivers the first books to you. He's likely to get these to you soon now in August, okay? And at the end of October, you're going to have to bring these unit standards or submit these unit standards to Rion at the end of October. At that point, he's then going to provide you with these unit standards here, okay? He will provide you with these at the beginning of October, okay? Or should I say end of October, and then he will want them back from you mid-December, these books here. So this is the work you'll have to do then. And then in January or mid-January, you'll be given the logbook, and we'll train you on first aid, and then that's mid-January. And at the end of March, then you will submit the final set of books with your logbook, this logbook, which he'll also deliver to you at that time. As I said, these unit standards, these English unit standards, they are recognition of prior learning. So at the end of the day, at the end of May, or the end of March, should I say, this qualification will have been completed by yourselves, and we will then call for the internal moderation and the external moderation. Now, Rion's going to create a WhatsApp group, and you will be part of that WhatsApp group. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to go through to Rion and ask questions on that WhatsApp group, and just to clarify anything that may be misunderstood or you need assistance with. Otherwise, I wish you all the very best on this qualification, and we look forward to certifying you at the end of May 2026. So all the best to you, and I look forward to sending you your certificates. Thanks so much for your time, and all the best.